What would you do if the location on your wife's phone kept pinging the same? Budget hotel, Thursday at 6:40 p.m.? I stared at the tiny red dot on the map like it was laughing at me. Danielle said she had strategy meetings. I wanted to believe her. Love makes you want to be blind, but curiosity is louder than comfort. I drove there. I told myself I'd just look and leave. I parked across the street and watched people come and go. A couple arguing, a delivery driver, a woman in a yellow coat who wasn't Danielle. At 6:38, a black sedan pulled in. Danielle stepped out, hair-pinned, lipstick sharp, holding the tote I bought her last Christmas. She looked beautiful. She also looked like a stranger. Then he arrived, tall, confident, a navy jacket and the kind of smile that expects yes. He didn't look around. He walked straight to her like they'd rehearsed it. He pressed his hand to her back. She didn't flinch. They disappeared through the glass doors like my marriage wasn't even in the lobby. I stayed in the car with my hands on the wheel and my heart in my throat. I could have stormed in. I didn't. I sat there and counted my breaths. 10 in, 10 out. When they came out an hour later, she laughed at something he said. She touched his wrist. He kissed her cheek. I snapped one photo, then another. My hands shook, but my camera did not. Before they drove away, he looked right at my car and smiled like he knew me. The next morning, Danielle brought me coffee with a kiss on my forehead. She asked about my day like ours hadn't split in two the night before. Late meeting tonight, she said, casual. Like the word late meant loyal. I stirred the coffee and watched the swirl and thought about that man's smile. At work, I checked my phone every 10 minutes. I reread the photo until it burned my eyes. When Danielle texted at 5:59 p.m., running behind, don't wait up. Something inside me cracked, small and precise. I started noticing things I had ignored. The new perfume she kept in her glove box for emergencies, the hotel loyalty email that she said was spam, the way she started wearing silk shirts. I'd never seen in lipstick that didn't match our grocery budget. Every lie was small. Together they were a map. That night I walked our dog and counted windows with warm light inside them. I wondered how many homes looked peaceful from the street while sinking from within. I reminded myself to breathe. I reminded myself I wasn't crazy. Then I reminded myself to be smart. At 11:42, Danielle came home smelling like clean sheets that weren't ours. I asked, how was it? She said, exhausting. Want to watch something? And curled up next to me like nothing was wrong. I watched her laugh at a show we love and felt my chest turn hollow. I slept badly and woke before dawn to a phone buzzing on the dresser. Her phone. A message lit the screen. Travis, same time next week. You were unreal. I whispered his name out loud. Travis, and the phone popped open to a thread that made my stomach drop. I didn't scroll. I skimmed. It was enough. Screenshots of hotel confirmations, a photo of their hands laced, messages that sounded like a language I used to share with her. My name never appeared. That hurt more than the rest. I wasn't a barrier to them. I was a background. I took pictures of the thread with my own phone, hands steady now, like I had switched roles from husband to archive it. I wrote the hotel name on a sticky note. I wrote the day, the time, the pattern. At breakfast, Danielle hummed while slicing fruit. You've been quiet, she said. Thinking about work, I lied. Don't drown in it, she smiled. We need a beach trip soon. Beach. As if the ocean could wash this off. I nodded anyway. Love makes you polite even when your heart is bleeding onto the kitchen tile. That afternoon, I searched Travis in our city, the name heavy in my mouth. Too many results. I added Danielle plus Travis and got her public photos, all safe and smiling. No Travis. He was careful. She was too. At 7 p.m., she texted, late again. I typed, okay. Then I drove back to the same hotel and parked farther away. At 7:12, the navy jacket walked out with Danielle, his hand on her lower back, her head tilted, laughing like I used to make her laugh. I took 3 photos, 1 video, and a breath that felt like swallowing glass. As they parted, a woman stepped from a rideshare and brushed past Danielle. She turned her head, paused, stared, and followed Travis inside. She wore no makeup, a coat thrown over jeans, hair tied up like she'd left in a hurry. She moved quickly, like fear and anger were pushing her forward together. She passed me without seeing me. She went to the front desk, showed a photo on her phone, pointed toward the elevator. The clerk tried to slow her. She didn't slow. I knew that walk. I had done it in my head 100 times. I got out of my car before I could decide it was a bad idea. The lobby smelled like lemons and apology. I made it to the elevators as the doors closed. I took the stairs, 2 at a time, heart pounding a drumbeat I couldn't mute. On the 3rd floor, the door slammed somewhere down the hall. Then voices, a woman's voice breaking, a man's voice low and sharp. A second woman's, Danielle's, tight with panic. I didn't move closer. I didn't need details. Betrayal is loud even through walls. After minutes that felt like an hour, the door opened. The woman came out first. She wasn't crying. She was shaking. She walked right past me, stopped, turned, and looked at my face like she recognized the ache. She noticed my ring. I noticed hers, simple gold, left hand. "You look like you know," she said. "I do," I said. She nodded once. "I'm Katherine." "Adrian." "Our spouses?" she asked quietly. "Danielle," I said. "Travis," she replied. And then the door behind her opened again, and he stepped into the hall. Travis saw me with Katherine and froze, and Danielle's voice called from inside. "Travis, who is that?" We stood in a triangle no one wanted to draw. Travis's face tightened. "What are you doing here?" He snapped at Katherine. "Finding out the truth," she said, voice low. "And you?" He looked at me like I was a problem to be solved. "This is private." "Not anymore," I answered. Danielle appeared behind him, her sweater wrong side out, eyes wide. She saw me and her mouth formed my name like a prayer and a curse at the same time. "Adrian!" I raised a hand. "Don't!" A housekeeper rounded the corner. The hallway became too bright. No one wanted a scene, not even me. I stepped back. "This isn't the place," I said. "This isn't the time." Katherine nodded. "Tomorrow," she said, hand tight on her bag. "Somewhere neutral." We exchanged numbers without looking away from the people who broke us. Then we left, separately, but felt strangely less alone. That night, Danielle sat on the edge of our bed and tried to say my name again. I stared at the wall. "How long?" I asked. She swallowed. "It's complicated." "It's simple," I said. "How long?" She closed her eyes. "Months." The word moved through the room like cold air. I stood up. "I'm sleeping on the couch." "Please," she whispered. "Let me explain." "Tomorrow," I said, with the truth in the room. My phone buzzed at midnight. "Katherine, ready at 10? Evidence only, no tears." We met at a quiet bakery when it opened. We ordered coffee we didn't drink. We sat at a corner table and laid down our proof like cards, screenshots, receipt, calendar invite, tagged strategy, hotel point statements, a photo of Danielle's tote on an unfamiliar chair, a photo of Travis's hand with a scar on his thumb, the same hand I'd seen on my wife's waist. Katherine spoke first. "He told me I was paranoid," she said, voice flat. "He said I needed counseling." "That's what he does. Pulls your mind apart so you doubt your eyes." I nodded. "She said I'm controlling because I asked what time she'll be home. Like the question was the betrayal. We were strangers, but our sentences finished each other. There's a kind of friendship only disasters can forge." I told her I wanted to expose them. Not yelling, not fist, facts. She nodded slowly. "Public?" "Public," I said. "No hiding for people who hit us." We planned like two people who had never planned a thing together and somehow knew exactly how to move. We picked a date, our neighborhood's joint summer fundraiser. Open bar, open cameras, lots of eyes. Danielle had already volunteered us to help. Travis was on the committee. It was perfect and awful. We split tasks. I'd secure the event's slideshow. She'd set up a surprise video for donors, actually our proof. We'd invite people who needed to see what our cheaters had done without warning them why. Risky? Yes. Necessary? Also yes. We left the bakery with a shared promise. No last-second mercy. Mercy was their language. Ours would be truth. That afternoon, Danielle texted me, "Let's reset tonight." "Dinner? No phones?" I set the table and set my recorder under the napkins. I cooked something simple because complicated food felt like lying. Danielle came home in a dress I'd always loved on her. She looked like the beginning of our marriage. Bright eyes, hopeful mouth, hands that wanted to hold mine. I felt the tug. I also felt the knife in my chest. We ate in silence for a while. Then I said, "Tell me the truth." All of it. She didn't pretend not to understand. "It started after the promotion party," she said. "You were working late." I felt forgotten. Travis listened. I stared at my plate. "So you rewarded yourself with secrets." Tears gathered in her eyes. "I'm not a monster." "You're not," I said. "You're a person who made a choice." Again and again, she talked. Some of it made sense. Some of it made me want to leave the room and never come back. She said she still loved me. She said she was confused. She said Travis meant nothing and everything. Betrayal, people love that phrase. It means I want to keep all my options. When she reached for my hand, I let her take it for a second. Not because she deserved it, because I needed to feel how weak I'd become around her. Then I pulled away. "There's an event next week," she said carefully. "You'll come, right?" "I wouldn't miss it," I said, and felt a kind of calm that scared me. Later that night, Katherine sent a single-line text, "Slideshow access confirmed." The venue was perfect for a reveal. Long white walls, rented projectors, a sound system too fancy for a community fundraiser. Katherine arrived early with a flash drive labeled Donor Reel. I arrived with a manila folder and a face that looked calm in mirror. We synced our plan. The event director, distracted and grateful, never checked our files. We helped arrange table cards like good volunteers. Danielle floated from guest to guest, charming, laughing. Travis told a story to a small circle of people who believed him. I watched them both without watching them. Katherine stood near the AV booth like a statue. When Danielle caught my eye, she smiled and mouthed, "Thank you for being here." I nodded and wondered if she could hear my heart through the room noise. The schedule hit 8:20, slideshow time. The lights dimmed. Applause rippled. The projector blinked. A soft piano track began. Photos of kids at summer camp, volunteers painting a fence, the director hugging a donor. Then cut. A black screen. New title card, Transparency Matters. Slide 1, a hotel receipt. Slide 2, 2 hands laced, his scar visible. Slide 3, a text from Danielle. Same time Thursday? Slide 4, Travis, "You're unreal." A gasp ran through the room like wind through a field. The next slide was a short video, Danielle and Travis leaving the hotel. The room went silent as truth filled the screen. The video played without sound. It didn't need sound. Danielle's face, Travis's hand, the door, the hour, the lie. Then the close-up photo, his scar, her tote, and finally a date overlay that matched the fundraiser. Committee meeting they skipped for work. The lights came up slow. People turned their heads like sunflowers pivoting toward a new light. Me, Danielle, Travis, Katherine. The director fumbled at the podium. Seems there's been an error?" "No error," Katherine said, stepping forward, voice steady. "Just honesty." Danielle stood very still. Then she moved fast. "Adrian, we can talk about this at home." "We will talk," I said. "Here." Travis raised his hands like a man stopping traffic. "This is inappropriate. You're humiliating everyone." "You humiliated yourselves," Katherine replied. Someone in the back started recording. Then everyone did. Phones raised, faces expectant, 100 witnesses hungry for clarity. "Danielle," I said quietly, "was any of it real?" Her mouth trembled. "I love you," Travis scoffed. "Danielle," she shot him a look that could cut glass. Then she turned back to me. "I made a mistake," she said. "A long one." Travis leaned into his mic and said the sentence that set the room on fire. "She told me her husband was boring. That's why she came to me." The room murmured the way crowds do when they smell blood. Danielle flushed. "That's not what I said," she snapped. Katherine stepped between them like a referee. "We're not doing he said, she said. We're doing proof." She turned to the audience. "No one here owes us forgiveness. We're not asking for that. We're asking you to look at what happened and stop pretending it didn't." A few donors put their phones down and nodded. The director, sweating, whispered to an assistant, who whispered to the AV tech, who shrugged because the show was already over. Danielle tried to hold my hand. I let it hang in the air between us like a question neither of us could answer. "Adrian, please," she whispered. "Not like this." "How?" I asked. "In private? In the dark?" "That's where you wanted everything." Travis changed tactics. "We're consenting adults," he announced. "This is puritanical." "Consenting adults don't need to lie," Katherine said, eyes on him like a laser. "Consent isn't a shield for cruelty," he sneered. "You always loved grand speeches. Better than grand betrayals," she said. A reporter I recognized from local news stepped up. "Do you have any statement?" she asked me gently. "Yes," I said, voice surprisingly calm. "Secrets rot whatever they touch." By morning, the video had 2 million views and a new headline, "Betrayed Spouses Team Up. Cheaters Turn on Each Other Live." My phone buzzed until it felt like a living thing. Messages poured in, some kind, some cruel, many from people saying, "This happened to me too." Strangers called us heroes. Others called us vindictive. The truth doesn't care about its nickname. It just sits in the light. Danielle called nonstop. I didn't answer. She sent long texts, then short ones, then a photo of us on our first trip with the caption, "Please." My stomach tightened. "Memory is an unforgiving lawyer. It brings exhibits you forgot you kept." Travis posted a 3-paragraph apology that blamed stress, temptation, and unhealthy boundaries. He used the word mistakes 5 times and the word sorry once. Comments roasted him. Katherine and I met at a park to breathe. We sat on a bench like tired teammates after a long game. "You okay?" she asked. "I don't know," I said. "But I'm more okay than yesterday." She nodded. "Me too." I wasn't sure what we were to each other. Not friends, not lovers, something different. 2 people who held the same heavy object until it became lighter. That afternoon, Danielle texted, "I'm coming over. We need to end this circus." Then, "Own, or I tell them things you won't like." She arrived with her keys like they still belonged. I met her at the door and held my palm out. "Keys first," I said. She dropped them into my hand. "You made me a villain," she whispered. "You wrote the script," I replied. She walked past me into the kitchen, poured water, set the glass down without drinking. "We can fix this," she said. We can do therapy, we can move, we can delete our accounts. People forget. People do, I said. I don't. Her eyes flashed. What do you want? Money? The house? Public sympathy? Do you want me to beg? I want honesty, I said. And the end. She stared at the fridge like it would help. Travis and I are done, she said quickly. He threw me under the bus online. He says I manipulated him. Cheaters always fight over who held the steering wheel, I said. She put her hand on my arm. I loved you. Loved. Past tense. It landed like a thud. We talked until the sun moved across the floor. We did not cry. We did not shout. We signed a separation agreement our lawyer had. Drafted at 1 a.m. while the internet kept replaying our reveal. At the door, she said, "One day you'll see I'm not a monster." I already said you're not, I replied. You're a person who hurt me. I'm a person who won't live in that hurt. When she left, a new message slid into my inbox from Travis. We need to talk. She's burning everything down. Travis wanted to meet man to man. I chose a public cafe and a seat near the window. He arrived with sunglasses and a hangover. You ruined my life, he said. You did that, I replied. She's telling people I stalked her, he hissed. She says I pressured her, that she tried to leave. I stared at him. You don't like being the villain either. He leaned forward. Call off your little crusade. Tell the press it's over. I don't control the press, I said. And there was never a crusade. There was truth. He laughed without humor. Katherine always needed a stage. Guess she found one. Don't talk about her, I said. He smirked. Touchy. This conversation had no ending that helped me, so I gave it the only one I could. My lawyer will be in touch, I said, standing. For the rest, talk to your wife. He grabbed my sleeve. I looked at his hand. He released it. This will follow you, he muttered. So will it, I said. 2 days later, audio leak. Travis blaming Danielle on a call. Danielle blaming Travis in a voice note. The internet took sides. Then it took none. I watched the leak once, then turned it off. Their words were knives they threw at each other, hoping one would land in me. It didn't. I was out of range now. Katherine texted. You seen this? Saw, I replied. Not feeding it. Good, she wrote. I'm tired. We both were. Tired of drama that wasn't ours anymore. Tired of strangers playing referee in our lives. Tired of carrying the weight of someone else's choices. I met with a therapist. I slept without waking up to check an empty driveway. I started running again. After a few weeks, my lungs remembered. My legs remembered. My heart slowly began to learn a new rhythm. Danielle sent one last email apologizing for how it all unfolded, like the betrayal. Happened by accident, like a messy rap. Job on a present no one wanted. I archived it without replying. The fundraiser director asked if I would speak at a support group for betrayed partners. I said yes, and then Katherine walked in and sat in the front row. I didn't give a speech. I told a short story about a red dot on a map, about a navy jacket, about a woman with a gold ring who recognized my face in a hallway. I said, you're not crazy, you're careful. You're not weak, you're wounded. The wound won't always be this loud. People nodded. Some cried. After, Katherine and I sat on the curb with paper cups of bad coffee and watched. A group of teenagers skateboard in the parking lot like life never hurts. Do you ever think we'll, date? She asked, not looking at me. I smiled. I think we'll heal. If that overlaps, we'll see. She laughed, relief and humor mixing. Good answer. We hugged like people who hadn't had a safe hug in a long time. Then we went home to our separate, quiet spaces and let the silence be a kindness. A week later, divorce papers were ready for signature. Mine and Danielle's, Katherine's and Travis's. Signing took 10 minutes and 3 pens. The lawyer explained things I barely heard. Danielle looked like a drawing of herself. The lines too fine. The color faded. We didn't make eye contact until the end. I hope you're happy, she said, but not cruelly. Just empty. I hope you learn, I said, and meant it. Outside, the air tasted like rain. I stood under the awning and let a few drops hit my face. I thought about the first time I kissed her and the last time I hugged her. Both felt far away now, like photos in someone else's album. That evening, Katherine texted a photo of her signature next to Travis's. Done, she wrote. Me too, I replied. The fundraiser posted a follow-up video, Accountability and Community, featuring our story, with our permission. It went viral again, but this time the comments were different. People shared their own story. Men who'd been told to man up and forget. Women who were called crazy for noticing pattern. Queer couples who dealt with infidelity in silence because they feared judgment. The comment section felt less like a courtroom and more like a circle of chairs. I got messages from old friends, from strangers, from a cousin I hadn't spoken to in years. Most said the same thing. Thank you for saying it out loud. I realized our revenge wasn't the video or the gasps or the views. Our revenge was refusal. We refused to carry their secrets anymore. We put the weight down and walked away. Travis lost his position on the fundraiser board. Danielle's company put her on leave. They each posted new statements, this time turning fully on each other. It was exhausting to watch, so I didn't. Healing wasn't dramatic. It was dishes, laundry, walking the dog at the same time every evening. It was saying no to late work to say yes to sleep. It was standing in my kitchen and naming what stayed. My hands steady, my mind clear. My future mine. Katherine and I met once a week for a while. Sometimes we didn't talk about them at all. We talked about food, about movies, about the weather like amateurs. We laughed and were surprised to hear it. One night she asked if I wanted to try a new restaurant. I said yes, and it didn't feel like a test. It felt like making dinner plans with a friend who had helped me lift a heavy table and didn't complain when it pinched her finger. On the way home, we passed the old hotel. The lobby lights were on. We didn't look in. We just kept driving. People asked if we were together. We said, "We're okay." That was truer than any label. We were learning that not every pain needs to turn into a romance to be meaningful. Some become friendship, some become gratitude, some become silence you appreciate more than noise. I planted herbs in small pots on my windowsill. Basil took. Rosemary struggled, then decided to live. I started to trust time again. One afternoon, Danielle sent a final message. "I'm leaving the city. I'm sorry for everything." I stared at it for a while and typed, "I hope you heal," and hit send. It felt like setting a heavy box down in a room I no longer lived in. Katherine texted, "Want to help me move a couch Saturday?" I wrote back, "Yes, I'll bring pizza." If you're listening to this because you want a neat ending, I can't give it to you. Life didn't tie a bow around our mess. It handed us a broom and 2 dustpans and said, "Start sweeping." Here's what I know now. Trust isn't blind. It sees clearly and still, chooses to stay until it can't. Love isn't a hotel lobby where anything can be hidden if you smile at the clerk. Love is a light that tells the truth, even when it hurts your eyes. When betrayal came, it tried to tell me who I was. Weak, boring, replaceable. It lied. I am steady. I am kind. I am done carrying other people's secrets in my chest like stolen breath. Katherine and I still text pictures of the sky when it looks like a painting. Sometimes we get coffee. Sometimes we don't. We don't owe the world a romance. We owe ourselves a life. If there's a moral, it's this. You are allowed to speak. You are allowed to show the proof. You are allowed to leave. The truth may go viral for a day, but the real victory is quiet. The first night you sleep without checking a map. The morning you make coffee and don't wait for a lie to arrive. My name is Adrian, and I learned that endings can be merciful even when they're messy. We didn't win the internet. We won ourselves, and that is enough.
What a story. 2 strangers brought together by betrayal, who chose truth over silence. Adrian and Katherine didn't just expose their cheating spouses, they exposed the lies that so many people are told to swallow in the dark. And in the end, they didn't need revenge or even romance to win. They found something better, peace. Now, I want to hear from you. If you were in Adrian's shoes, would you have stayed quiet and moved on? Or would you have exposed the truth the way he did? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And if this story hit you hard, don't worry, another jaw-dropping tale is coming next. So make sure you tap that subscribe button and join us for the next chapter of Lies and Regrets. Until then, remember, love should never be a secret you're forced to carry alone.